The rain pounded against the windshield, blurring the world into streaks of gray and shadow. Mark Thompson gripped the steering wheel, his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, humming softly in the back seat. It was just another late-night drive home from her dance recital, the kind of routine that held their fragile world together since Sarah's death 2 years ago. But then, a flash of red taillights swerved wildly ahead, followed by a sickening crunch of metal against a guardrail. Mark's heart lurched. He didn't know why he stopped, instinct, maybe, or something deeper, but as he ran toward the crumpled car, he had no idea that this moment would unravel secrets buried in his past, secrets that would change his life forever. Mark's boots sank into the muddy shoulder of the road as he sprinted toward the wreck. The rain was relentless, soaking his jacket and plastering his dark hair to his forehead. Lily's voice echoed from the truck, "Daddy, what's happening?" But he waved her back, his focus locked on the mangled sedan. The driver's side door was crumpled, and through the shattered window, he saw a woman slumped over the steering wheel, blood trickling down her temple. "Hey! Can you hear me?" Mark shouted, yanking at the door. It wouldn't budge. His hands trembled as he grabbed a tire iron from his truck and pried the door open, the screech of metal piercing the night. The woman stirred, her eyes fluttering open, dazed but alive. She was in her late 30s, with dark hair matted against her pale face, and something about her eyes, hazel, wide, familiar, sent a shiver through him he couldn't place. "Stay with me," Mark said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline. He checked her pulse, weak but there, and carefully unbuckled her seatbelt. The car reeked of gasoline, and a faint hiss from the engine warned him time was short. With strength born of desperation, he pulled her free just as flames licked the hood. He carried her to the grass, laying her down as sirens wailed in the distance. Lily ran to his side, clutching her stuffed bunny, her blue eyes wide with fear. "Is she okay, Daddy?" "I don't know, sweetheart," Mark said, brushing rain from Lily's face. He turned back to the woman, who was coughing now, her breath ragged. "What's your name?" he asked, pressing his jacket against the gash on her head. "CL. "Claire," she rasped, her voice barely audible. "Thank you." The paramedics arrived, and Mark stepped back, his heart still racing. As they loaded Claire into the ambulance, her eyes met his again, and that nagging sense of familiarity hit him like a punch. He didn't know her, but something about her felt like a ghost from his past. He pushed the thought aside, focusing on Lily, who clung to his hand. They followed the ambulance to the hospital, Mark telling himself it was just to make sure Claire was okay. But deep down, he knew something bigger was pulling him toward her. At the hospital, Mark sat in the waiting room, Lily curled up asleep on his lap. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, and the weight of the night settled into his bones. He was a carpenter, not a hero, a man still piecing together a life shattered by his wife Sarah's cancer. Every day was a battle to keep Lily's world bright, to be both mom and dad, to not let grief swallow them whole. Why had he stopped? Why did this stranger's face stir something in him? A doctor emerged, pulling Mark from his thoughts. "She's stable," the doctor said. "Concussion, some bruises, but she'll recover." "She's asking for you." Mark hesitated, then carried Lily to Claire's room. Claire was propped up in bed, her face pale but alert. She smiled weakly when she saw him. "You're the one who pulled me out," she said. "I owe you my life." "Just glad you're okay," Mark said, shifting Lily's weight. "This is my daughter, Lily." Claire's eyes softened as she looked at Lily, then back at Mark. "You're a good dad," she said quietly. "Your wife must be proud." Mark's throat tightened. "She passed away 2 years ago." Claire's face fell, and for a moment, she looked like she'd been struck. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice breaking. "What was her name?" "Sarah," Mark said, the word heavy with love and loss. "Sarah Thompson." Claire's hand flew to her mouth, her eyes filling with tears. "Sarah Thompson," she repeated, her voice trembling. Oh my God. Mark frowned, unease creeping up his spine. Do you know her? Claire nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. She was my sister. The room seemed to shrink, the air thick with the weight of Claire's words. Mark stared at her, his mind reeling. That's impossible, he said, his voice low. Sarah never mentioned a sister. Claire wiped her eyes, her hands shaking. We weren't close. Not for a long time. I left home when I was 18, and Sarah was younger. We had a falling out, and I never looked back. I didn't even know she was gone until now. Mark's grip on Lily tightened, waking her. Daddy, she mumbled, rubbing her eyes. It's okay, sweetheart, he said, forcing calm into his voice. He set her on a chair and turned back to Claire. Why didn't she tell me about you? 10 years of marriage, and she never once mentioned a sister. Claire looked away, guilt etching lines into her face. Our parents were difficult. Controlling. I rebelled, ran away, cut ties. Sarah stayed, but she was the good one, always trying to fix things. When I left, I told her not to follow me. I didn't want her to get hurt. I guess she took it to heart. Mark's jaw clenched. He wanted to be angry, to demand answers, but the pain in Claire's eyes mirrored his own. She wasn't lying. He could feel it. But the revelation opened old wounds, questions about Sarah he'd never thought to ask. Had she kept other secrets? Had she been carrying this hurt all those years? I need to know more, Mark said finally. But not tonight. Lily needs to get home. Claire nodded, her voice small. Can I see you again? I want to know about her life. About Lily. Mark hesitated. Part of him wanted to walk away, to protect the fragile balance he'd built with Lily. But another part, the part that still loved Sarah, that ached for any piece of her, couldn't let go. I'll come back tomorrow, he said. The next day, Mark returned alone, leaving Lily with his neighbor. Claire was sitting up, her bruises stark against her pale skin. She told him about their childhood in a small Ohio town, about their parents' strict rules, about the fight that drove her away. Sarah wanted to come with me, Claire said, her voice thick with regret. But I told her to stay, to be safe. I thought I was protecting her. Instead, I lost her. Mark listened, piecing together the sister Sarah had been. The stories matched the woman he'd loved, kind, stubborn, always putting others first. But the absence of Claire in Sarah's stories stung. She deserved to have you in her life, he said, his voice raw. And you should have been there. Claire flinched but nodded. I know. I thought I was doing the right thing, staying away. But I want to make it right now. For Sarah. For Lily. Mark didn't know if he could trust her, but he saw Sarah in her eyes, in the way she held herself. He agreed to let her meet Lily, cautiously, one step at a time. Over the next few weeks, Claire became a tentative part of their lives. She was discharged from the hospital, and Mark helped her find a small apartment nearby. Lily, curious and open-hearted, took to her immediately, calling her Aunt Claire with a shy smile that broke Mark's heart. Claire brought Lily coloring books, told her stories about Sarah as a girl, and slowly, the three of them began to build something fragile but real. But it wasn't easy. Mark struggled with resentment. Every time Claire laughed with Lily, he saw Sarah's absence more sharply. He wondered if he was betraying her memory by letting Claire in. And Claire carried her own guilt, her own ghosts. She'd spent years running, from her past, her mistakes, and now, faced with Lily's innocent trust, she feared she didn't deserve it. One evening, at Mark's small house, Claire found a photo album while helping Lily with a school project. It was filled with pictures of Sarah, her wedding day, her holding newborn Lily, her laughing at a picnic. Claire broke down, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. Mark sent Lily to her room and sat across from Claire, torn between comfort and anger that I should have been there, Claire whispered. I missed everything. Her happiness, her pain. I wasn't there. Mark's voice was tight. She forgave you. She never said it, but I know her. She loved you, even after you left. But you need to stop running now. For Lily. Claire nodded, wiping her tears. I want to be here. I want to be family.